Same thing.
Yeah, we are now live.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Captain Chandrasekhar Panda from Sri Sri University. On behalf of Sri Sri University, I take this opportunity to welcome the chair, panelists, and participants to this webinar. The topic for today's webinar is constant innovation is the key to the modern education. We have with our chairperson and 9 panelists from 6 states with vast experience in academics and administration. Prior to commencement of the discussion, let me introduce the panelists and chair. We have with us Major General Basant Kumar Mahapatra, who served in Indian Army for 40 years, acknowledging his contribution to the defense services. The President of India conferred on him the most prestigious award, Ati Vishishta Seva Medal. After his retirement, he is holding the position of Chairman of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, 4 DAV schools, and Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Center for the Communication and Management. Sir, I welcome you to this webinar. I welcome Dr. Monalisa Bal, Chairperson Keat International School, Bhubaneswar, who was conferred with Mahatma Gandhi Leadership Award from NRI Welfare Society in the House of Commons of Parliament in London. She also received Emerging Leader Award at Leadership Excellence Award 2019 at Thailand, which is an initiative by Macadamia Education Group. We have with us Ms. Aparajita Singh, Director, Daffodils Public School, Mirzapur, Uttar Pradesh. Under her mentorship, the school registered 3 national records in Limca Book of Records, National Sports Award by CBSE, and Excellence in Education Award by His Excellency Governor of Uttar Pradesh. She teaches Art of Living life skill techniques to her 3,000 students in 3 branches to make great future generations. I welcome you, Madam, to this webinar. We have with us Captain Alokesh Sen, who started his career as a lecturer in 1981 and joined as an officer in Indian Navy in Education Branch in 1984. He was Principal Sainik School, Amaravati Nagar, Tamil Nadu, where the school got Defense Minister Trophy and Vocational Excellence Award from Rotary International. After his retirement from Navy, he was principal in Hyderabad Public School, Begumpet, and currently working as principal Vidyaniketan Birla Public School, Pilani, and also he is president of Shekhawati Sahodaya School, Junjun. I welcome you, sir, to this webinar.
Thank you.
We have with us Ms. Subina Sunglu, the founder principal of Sri Sri Academy, Kolkata. Under her able guidance, the school received various awards in recognition of her contribution in the field of education. She was nominated for the Young Achievers category of the Aparajita, the Art of Excellence 2012, organized by FICC FLO, and also Visalakshi Award at the International Women's Conference in Bangalore in 2018. I welcome you, Madam, to this webinar. I welcome Dr. Dhananjay Pan, Principal DPS Paradip. He is holding the post of principal for last 25 years with teaching experience of 35 years. He has received many national and international awards. He has groomed his students so well that it has become an example for others to emulate. We have with us Dr. Parul Kumar, the principal of Navy Children's School, Visakhapatnam, who during her teaching career received 8 awards for her leadership in the field of education. Under her mentorship, the Navy Children's School has been ranked as #1 in Andhra and #1 in Visakhapatnam for 5th consecutive time by the education world. I welcome you, Madam, to this webinar. I take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Sisir Kumar Das, Principal Kendra Vidyalaya #1, Visakhapatnam. He received appreciation from KV Sangathan for 100% result and also got appreciation from the Ministry of HRD for commendable academic performance. He received Harit Vidyalaya Award in the academic year 2019-20. We have with us Mr. C.J. Jacob, Principal, Kairali School, Ranchi, Jharkhand. He is having more than 25 years of experience as principals in different CBSE schools. He is recipient of many awards. The prominent one include Shiksha Ratna Award and award for Most Inspired Principal of Jharkhand by India Today Group. I welcome you to this webinar. I welcome our chair for the webinar, Mrs. Rachita Kulkarni, President Sri Sri University. She is also holding various other positions, that is President, World Forum for Ethics in Business, Trustee Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Vidya Mandir Trust, Global Board Member, Telex Institute, Board Member, AOL Health and Education Trust, Board Member, the United Way India, Governor of Finance, Ved Vigyan Mahavidyapit, and many more. In March 2018, she was selected as one of the top 100 inspirational women of India by National Bar Association of India and published in the book, The Phenomenal She. In April 2019, she was conferred the Exceptional Woman of Excellence Award at the Global Women's Economic Forum. In August 2019, she was awarded Future 50 High Impact Leader 2019 by Fortune magazine. All speakers will be given 4 minutes to give their opening remarks. At the end, there will be question and answer session, and those who are interested to ask questions to our panelists are requested to write the question in the chat box. With this, now I request the chair, Mrs. Rachita Kulkarni ji, to introduce the topic.
Thank you very much, Captain Panda, for your welcome, and a warm welcome to all the exceptional leaders we have today. Educators, education leaders, school principals, founders, school chairs. I think amongst all of you on our panel today, we have more than 300 years of education experience on the table. So that is the richness and the depth of the panel today. So really big honor for us in Sri Sri University to host us, all of you, as part of our Global Leadership Series. The Sri Sri University Global Leadership Series used to be an in-person conclave, always every few months, where we would bring leaders of the world together across different topics. And now the environment has propelled us to meet each other virtually, which we are so delighted to. I also have the joy to introduce many of our university seniors who are online with us. Our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ajay Kumar Singh, is with us. Our Executive Registrar, Dr. B.R. Sharma, is with us. The head of our Faculty of Agriculture, Dr. Kumar Swamy, is with us. The head of our Faculty of Architecture, Dr. Geeta Vaidyanathan, is with us. Dr. Vijay Lakshmi Mohanty is with us. She leads our public relations and governance vertical. So it's great. We have less time and all of you have a lot to share. So I want to just say a word or two about the topic we are discussing. All of you as school leaders, you are today sculpting across all your schools. We are talking about close to 45 to 50,000 students whose lives you are sculpting, you are nourishing, you are nurturing on a day-to-day basis, preparing them to become citizens of the world for today and for the future. And definitely, there must be a lot of thinking going in the way you are creating the innovation frameworks in your institutions, the way you're creating an ecosystem of learning, an ecosystem of creativity. And we want to hear from you today about your views on what do you think, how much do you think as schools in India, we are really innovating? How do we stack up against what happens in the world around us? If you look at the Scandinavian education system, primary and higher education system, it is so much more, there is so much that we can take from them. If you look at Far East, if you look at Japan, Korea. So few themes which we want to hear from you is, how are you doing? How are you creating an innovation infrastructure in your schools? How do you think we in India stack up to what happens around the world? What do you think are the needs today at a school level for the children to imbibe and to learn, to prepare them for even higher education? Because, you know, when kids come to us, they are already kind of, you know, their value systems are set today. Kids are becoming mature much younger. So they already come to us as full-blown adults with their own mindsets, and you know, at 17 they are ready to kind of embrace the world. So this is the kind of topic we want to go around. We would love to hear from your experiences, and also what we are facing today. You know, if you look at the pandemic that we are all a part of, it's a black swan event. Nobody expected it to happen and happen in such a big way. And it is teaching us that more and more we have to be proactively prepared to kind of stay ahead of the curve. So it's a wide topic. Take the theme that is closest to your heart, speak to it. What we will do is we take 4 minutes per person, and I'm going to request Captain Panda to kind of give us an indication of the timing. And then at the end, we spend then half an hour, you know, with questions. We've already got questions, we will get more. Does that work for everybody? Yeah?
Yeah.
Is this okay? Great. So I want, you know, the senior most amongst us, age-wise, in every way. I want to start with Major General Basant Kumar Mahapatra ji. Since the introduction has already made, I'll save that. Major General Mahapatra, we want to hear from you, your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I must express my great gratitude and happiness to be amongst you people. First of all, pranam to Guruji. And thank you, all of you, Sri Sri University, to give us this opportunity to interact. First and foremost, I'll confine myself to 3 subjects. 1, education in general. All of us know and striving to prepare students for the future, good leaders. The whole education, first and foremost, to be a good human being. The second, to be a good citizen, responsible citizen. And the third, to be a leader. Leader in whatever sphere he is there. With this aim, our education system which is there, I notice a lot of emphasis is on IQ, IQ, IQ. Whereas we need to emphasize on IQ, EQ, emotional quotient, and SQ, social quotient, and AQ, adversity quotient. Here is the opportunity which has come to us, that we can focus now, not only on IQ, but emphasis on EQ, SQ, and AQ. What is AQ? AQ is adversity quotient. What has happened to us now is an adverse condition. And it is not only devastation which has taken place, this requires orientation to the students. So that's and SQ is social quotient. All these 4 points are very important. The next I'll come, there is no doubt the best form of teaching is physical teaching by the teachers. We have got excellent teachers. I have got a lot of experience with the schools of DAV, and Cuttack alone we have got more than 10,000 students. And Bhubaneswar has got more than 10,000 students. We see the teachers, we see the students, nothing is wrong. They are good. Teachers are the best people, physical learning is necessary. But now with this thing, we need to blend it. Blending is required, blending of the digital. And the best points of the digital has to be taken on. So physical and digital. Now what other things we get benefit out of it? Digital is we have resources from all over the world. Pan-India, all over the world, we can get them and interact with our students, which is a fantastic opportunity for us. Next, I will say accessibility of extra time. We were all limited to the school timings, but now with the digital thing, we have the opportunity, even students can access learning process, learning, not teaching process, learning even after the school hours. Next point I will say, we need to have an orientation, learning the things from COVID. First and foremost, devastation of hospitality, tourism, hotel, aviation, supply chain. Whole thing has been disturbed. Lots of jobs will go away. Lots of jobs will go away. But lots of new jobs will come up. So this is an opportunity for us. Let them not feel demoralized, devastated, and it is our responsibility. So I would say these sort of a timing, these are important combination of digital as well as physical orientation of the student, taking into account the drawbacks, the devastation that has taken. Last, I would say you had the smart boards which are in school. It's a possibility to have it accessible to the students in their homes. But for that, internet facility is required. That is a priority to the government for the education. Internet facility, just like electricity, like water gone to the villages. Unless you do that, this digital facilities cannot be fully exploited. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Major General Mahapatra. Very beautifully and very succinctly shared. I must admit, this is the first time I'm hearing about the adversity quotient. And so rightfully said by are regularly facing adversity, even in terms of the human, the natural calamities that we face, whether it's the typhoon, like last year we went through Fani, or some of the other typhoons, and now what we are facing today. I must share here, Major General Mahapatra, there are two more quotients today which are becoming very important in general in the world. One is, of course, the spiritual quotient, because our ability to deal with ourselves in times of adversity like this, or in times of crisis, defines what the successful and who is successful and who is not. And you will be surprised, but there is a DQ these days in the corporate world, which is the decency quotient. How decent are we in the way we interact with each other? Simple decency, simple social decency. But organizations like MasterCard, for example, play a lot of emphasis on decency quotient. So very nice to hear your thoughts. With that, Mona Lisa, can I turn to you, Dr. Mona Lisa Bal, for your opening remarks?
Namaste, Rajita ji. Thank you so much for having me on board with everybody, great panelists and great thinkers, great speakers. Thank you, Sri University. Well, I agree with Mr. Mahapatra when he said that we have to be good human beings, and I would like to integrate it with your remarks that we need to integrate spiritual quotient into being a good human being. So at the same time, I believe that the world is going through a global outbreak, and we are not yet aware of how this new virus is going to take us tomorrow, where it is going to take us tomorrow. We learning about it every day. Even the political bodies, the HRD ministry, the economic going haywire, everything, nobody is in a place to tell us exactly where we will be tomorrow. So in this situation, are we in a position to get some innovation into the curriculum which will prepare our children tomorrow for the future, where we know our present and our future is absolutely swallowed up by a pandemic? So but when we go back, we have seen that, yes, we need a more application and real life connect curriculum, where children are meant to be working on situations where they tackle, try, fail, and again try again. They need to be told, or they need to be asked, where is their voice when it comes to handling a crisis like this, which maybe our parents had not seen, or we have not seen, our children are getting to see. So this is a curriculum which has to be followed up or built or constructed on situations which we are going through now, because we don't know. There are many, as Major Mahapatra said, there are many jobs which will be lost. Even children are not going to go through their graduations, their award ceremonies, their grade 12 exams, their grade 10 exams, all are based on internal assessment. We cannot say like this. Just the way last year we faced Fani, this year we are facing Corona. And Corona is worldwide. Fani was just Odisha focused. But children are there in Odisha. even I mean they faced all or whatever happened, and IB results again, they did empathize with us, but they did not say that we are going through the internal assessment and we'll grade them through our internal assessments. Just the way this year, because it was a global pandemic, so we had to turn it into an internal assessment and not let them take a board exam. So what are the areas that we need to prepare our children? Are they going to get grades on the basis of internal assessments? Or what kind of assessment are we looking at when it comes to near future? If they have to be, if this virus is going to be with us, we don't know whether it's going to be with us or not. I just pray that it is not going to be with us. Before we talk about they growing up and being good human beings, the present is what are we going to do with the present situation and the present children? And with, of course, how to lead their life, what is it that we are going to hand down to them, and how they're going to face tomorrow. Because there are many, the spring, fall exams are going to be scrapped off, and there will be admissions, the university admissions are postponed. Even the universities are not aware what is going to happen, I'm sure. So, but when it comes to school education, I feel we need not be only content transmitters. We need not give a very rosy picture. Listen, this is what is going to happen. This is what has happened. The history says so. So we are going to follow this. No, we have to be facing the adversity. We have to be facing something which we are not aware, which can hit us whenever, wherever. So our curriculum has to be more realistic. Our curriculum has to be more interesting. It may have a flipped class. It should be more flexible, more fluid, with a curriculum which is realistic. So that is what I feel. Thank you.
You know, I've been to your school. You run a great school. You know, you can feel the spirit of the students. You can feel that vibe of enthusiasm. What would be, Mona Lisa, if, you know, in the current scenario, what would you say if there was one thing that you would have wished was different in the curriculum for your kids? What would it be?
Yeah, we should have trained our teachers more to be digital friendly. We should have. Right. Because the whole world has turned to classroom, to you know, by digitizing classrooms and, you know, getting education through home. So our teachers, if you get into a survey, they say that we have not integrated technology as we should have.
Right.
We should have done that earlier.
Very true. Very true. That was our experience also. Speak about it later. We had to become online and virtual practically in 3-4 days.
Yeah, even getting into a Zoom thing also, we, as you know, like our children can do it much more faster than us.
Yeah.
So they do it faster. They do it like this. But we don't allow them phones. We don't allow them iPads when in normal classes. We don't allow them many things.
Right.
But now we are depending on them, you know.
That's true. We'll come back to that. Thanks, Dr. Mona Lisa. With that, Captain Alokesh Sen, can I turn to you, Principal of Vidya Niketan Birla Public School, Pilani, for your few remarks?
Thank you, ma'am, and thanks to Sri Sri University. In fact, I'm so honored. And also I'm feeling so homely. I'm feeling absolutely at home. I mean, there's something personal. I belong to Bhubaneswar. And I have not been able to visit that place since last about 6 to 8 months. And I plan to visit in the month of beginning April. And I don't know when can I visit that place. So it's great to, you know, feel at home amongst all of you here. And I'm the first one who want to bring the school's perspective, because I'm the school principal, first school principal to speak. So therefore, now the topic, which is like innovation, is the key to the modern day education. And innovation was there yesterday. Innovation is there today also. Innovation would be there tomorrow also, in different forms, depending on the situation. It will change the form. And innovation is enshrined also in the National Curriculum Framework 2005. It is also there in the Right to Education. These are the innovation word is repeatedly, you know, that is hummed there. And also, you know, basically the National Curriculum Framework and Right to Education says the teacher must bring a warm and encouraging, you know, atmosphere in the classroom. So all the teachers are encouraged to bring in innovation, and they have been doing, I'm sure all the schools, all the teachers in all the schools across, they have been bringing the innovation into the classroom in their own way, whatever, more or less, every teacher is involved in innovation. But however, the situation which has come now is very unique. That is the pandemic situation in the entire world. Undoubtedly has made a paradigm shift in the whole concept of your teaching learning. And I need to recall what is going on WhatsApp. A lot of WhatsApp messages are going on. A boy actually holding in his hand a mobile and saying, look, mobile was banned inside the school and the entire school is now inside the mobile phone. So that was very interesting. And that is what exactly in technology in classroom, our school, I would say, has been pretty, I always considered that our school was very advanced or is advanced, I consider. But if you look at it now, every school across the country, they have gone in for the digital classroom. That is the need, that is the demand of the time, which has enforced it on all of us. Now, coming to that, the teachers are the one who is not only teaching and engaging the students, they are also the one who is also taking care of the psychological, emotional, and the social needs of the children, because the parents undoubtedly are not able to handle the students. They are feeling confused, they are feeling harassed. In fact, mine is a school which is a fully boarding school. So they do go home only twice in a year. So when I send them home on 14th of March, and the parent, they actually, our summer vacation was to start by about 12th, 13th of May. So they have already gone home 2 months in advance. And equally, the teachers were also equally concerned about what to do. I mean, how to keep them in. Teacher means the school, and the teachers were concerned. The parents were confused. They were all, and this is a kind of situation which has, but then one good thing which has emerged across the board in the country is that all the entire teaching, almost the entire teaching fraternity, we have embraced this learning anytime and anywhere, this kind of approach, which we have embraced this particular approach. And as General Mahapatra said, that in our country, the rural poor students is concerned, they inhabit, in fact, the bottom of the digital abyss, at the bottom of the digital world. So obviously they are the underprivileged, or they are not that much privileged of the towns, big towns, or the metro students. But the government is definitely has to think something about it. As General Mahapatra said, that digital internet connection has to be given like your water connection, electricity connection, and the gas connection. I liked it, in fact. Then the students involved, in fact, what we see now, the students involved are giving fantastic, phenomenal responses to the teaching learning, digital teaching learning. And this particular response from the students, it has actually strengthened the resolve of the teachers. And I must tell you that there are teachers who are not that much interested, because there are different category of, teachers who are available among the population. I have seen here practically all teachers are involved. I've seen here those category of teacher who were showing less interest towards this technology. They are so enthused, they are so inspired that they are fully, deeply into it. And this is the right time that the, right kind of training which is supposed to be given. I must also tell you, coming back to the students, my students, there are about 70 to 80 students of class 12 who are unable to appear the paper because they have got their different combination subjects which are left. So there's a kind of your frustration, there's a kind of your depression, there's a kind of your confusion which is existing among the student. And obviously, it is only the teachers who are, no one is telling the teachers to do or not to do. Teachers themselves are volunteering because of this digital medium. They are talking to the group. We have different WhatsApp group, class-wise, section-wise, and different subject-wise. They have made the WhatsApp group and they have been talking to the students, because this is the time, as only the teachers only can come to the rescue of the student, because their professional exams are awaited. They have prepared for the whole year, for the NEET, for the IIT, for CLAT, for CPT, and so many things they have prepared. And this is and finally, I would like to say that this pandemic situation has reiterated the much cliched skill of the 21st century, as General Mohapatra said, like these are the adversity quotient. In fact, like decision making, these are the skills of the 21st century. Problem solving, ability to innovate, and most importantly, the adaptability. As I agree with Ms. Mona Lisa Bal, that we got to, orient our syllabus to include this kind of activity, which is more practical to face the adversity, to face any kind of future, disaster, which may come anytime without any kind of notice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain Sen. Very well articulated. And because you're missing Bhubaneswar, I have as my backdrop our main academic building of Sri Sri University. So you can feel like you are in Bhubaneswar already. And I want to ask a show of hands. How many of you will agree that actually moving classrooms to digital platform online has actually got the students involved more? You feel they are more attentive, they are participating more. How many of you would say yes to that? Okay, that's great. Actually, that was our experience in Sri Sri University also. All these older students, sometimes difficult to keep them physically attentive in the classroom. But online, our faculty members have shared that the percentage of attendance was much higher, involvement was much higher. So with that, Dr. Aprajita, I want to move to you, because Captain Sen spoke about the challenges now, this a little bit of confusion, depression, that anxiety, what next, what will happen. And you have integrated, for example, the Art of Living programs in your schools in Mirzapur. You are yourself a big proponent of that. So talk to us about how you are merging innovation and some, ancient Eastern methods for the success of your school.
Thank you. Namaste, Rajata ji. First of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and honor to be a part of this webinar. And my heartfelt pranam and charan sparsh to my Gurudev, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji. As today's topic is about innovation, I feel innovation is the biggest success mantra for any enterprise or for any organization. And for time immemorial, people have been bringing in lots of innovations in their respective fields as the success mantra. Today, I feel that the life of the children has been diverted more towards digital, virtual, mechanical, and I personally feel a little bit of artificial also. Because I'm seeing it with my own children also, and everywhere it's because it's the most in thing these days. This generation is more inclined to the digital world. And I think a blend of spirituality has to be added to that. So along with the digital and virtual, it has to be a little bit of spiritual too, a blend of spirituality with modernity will be, I personally feel, very, very innovative. Because I'm an Art of Living teacher, and I feel very happy and delighted in sharing this with all of you, that the children of my school are practicing the Sudarshan Kriya Yoga breathing technique every day. We've made it a part of the school curriculum. Before they start with their studies, they first do the Sudarshan Kriya Yoga. And as per the Harvard University also, the research by Harvard University, it has been found that the Sudarshan Kriya Yoga breathing technique is something which is so powerful that it enhances our concentration, our focus, our interpersonal skills with our friends, with our elders improve. And nowadays, because being an Art of Living teacher, I've taken so many courses. I'm in touch with many children, and they have been calling me, and few of them are very anxious to know, ma'am, what is going to happen now. A lot of anxiety is there. A lot of they're very skeptical as to for how much longer period this is going to continue. So also one more plus point which I would like to share with everybody is that the SKY, it reduces the stress and anxiety if practiced regularly. I do take regular follow-ups also with the children, and it also increases our ability to excel. That is, it increases the beta brain wave activity also, which brings in heightened alertness, a lot of concentration. People are able to solve their problems in a much more optimistic manner. I feel that when our priorities are not right, we waste time, and we don't realize that time wasted is life wasted. So
Time up, madam.
prioritizing requires a lot of discipline. And this, I understood that we were not taught at school, in the school, how to be more strong and more focused. So a lot of disaster management practices have to be taken by the schools, in which, like Japan, we see that the children are given this practice that if an earthquake comes in, what you're supposed to do. So it is definitely going to improve the adversity quotient and the emotional quotient among the children also. All I would like to say is that we are grooming the citizens of tomorrow, and a blend of spirituality with modernity is what I feel. If the Upanishads in Hindi can be translated in a more simplified manner, and the schools can include these as a part of curriculum, we will be able to bring in much better responsible citizens who will be contributing to the society in a more positive manner. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Aparajita. And you brought in the element of the ancientness. So though we are, the intention was to talk about innovation, I think the seed of innovation is in ourselves. And only if we can access ourselves, or only if we can experience ourselves somewhere, that sprout of innovation comes. I always say that Aryabhatta or Sushruta, when they did the discoveries or inventions, I don't think they had any innovation infrastructure or innovation framework, but those ideas sprouted from a deep space of their consciousness. So very beautifully you brought it in. Thanks, Aparajita. In fact, that is something that in Srishu University we are very proud of, that we have created an ecosystem of living where all our students are encouraged to practice meditation, are encouraged to live a sattvic life, because to empower them with life skills to face life, adversity that all of us are talking about, black swan events, difficulties, anxieties. So we want to take a 2-3 minutes to showcase to you, as part of the Global Leadership Series, a little vignette of life in Srishu University. Would that be okay? A short film which kind of shows life of our students in Srishu University. So Charak, could you play that? Are you able to hear me, Charak?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
We live in a world that is constantly changing and evolving. And to face global challenges, we need people with dynamic personalities. At Sri Sri University, Odisha, the next generation of decision makers and leaders are groomed with a purpose to learn, lead, and serve. It is emerging as a center of premium education in India, blending the best of East and West. This university has a unique approach to education that combines Western innovation with the ancient values and wisdom from the East. It is one of India's first alcohol, drug, and smoke-free campus. spread across 187 acres of land and located on a hilltop on the banks of the Mahanadi River. The sprawling and beautiful campus is inspired by the ancient universities of Nalanda and Takshashila. Thousands of students from across the 28 states of India and several countries of the world call Sri Sri University their home.
If I had to point out that one thing that really makes me feel special about studying in SSU, it would be that synergy between the students, and that I think is the most special thing.
I'm sure that these students will make decisions in the near future that will change the world for the better.
I'm really happy to be here, and with every day I understand more how I appreciate this time.
Sri Sri University offers courses from an undergrad to a master's level and also PhDs. Sri Sri University is one of the first university in all of Asia to introduce osteopathy, a drug-free, non-invasive manual therapy that aims to bring a revolution in the path of medical science. Yoga, meditation, and spiritual values are the foundations on which the university stands tall, and it is these that are shaping the personalities of our students inside out.
You know, there is no ragging happening, there is no one picking on each other, and that is really important, I feel. The environment of the university is such that the emotional quotient automatically develops in a person.
This is my 4th year in SSU, and I have seen a transformation on a very large scale in my life.
It gives you more than it promises, so that's all a person can ask for.
Sports is a way of life at Sri Sri University and is clearly exhibited in this vibrant campus and its students. The annual Fest Orion is a pursuit for brilliance. It is envisioned to be the biggest social celebration in Odisha and Eastern India, with the ambition of becoming the best annual fest in the world. Our alumni have been placed in some of the top multinationals, while some have set forth to create successful startups of their own.
Sri Sri University was one place I looked at where I feel I could learn more than just what's in the books, because at the end of the day I realized it's a lot about handling people more than systems. It's about actually coming together and making a difference, and you don't find that so easily.
In 2018, Sri Sri University was awarded the Best Bootcamp Startup Award by the Government of Odisha. Right from its year of inception, Sri Sri University has been recognized with several other such awards. Our vision is to impart holistic and value-integrated education in order to develop visionary thinkers and leaders. The revolution in education has begun.
Thank you, Charak. It's quite dramatic, isn't it, the way our filmmaker has said revolution in education. So Captain Sen, again for you, bringing you a slice of Odisha because you were missing it. And I think that is Gurudev's nurturing of our students and the vision he has of really creating a entrepreneurial innovation spirit. So in the last 3 years, we have close to 34 startups that have been incubated by our students in Sri Sri University, all running successfully. We are the nodal agency for the Odisha government Startup Odisha initiative. So many sprouts of innovation on our campus, including, of course, our faculty, which is filing many patents. We have close to 30 patents filed by our faculty. So we can see that seed of innovation on our campus. So with that, I want to move to our next speaker, Dr. Dhananjay Pan, also from the state of Odisha, from Paradeep. Sir, share your few thoughts on the topic we are discussing today.
Namaste, ma'am, and namaste to all other participants today. Pranam Guruji ko. And I'm really thankful to the team of SSC University for this wonderful initiative for the present scenario. And it is the time when we can do something differently for our future. I believe that innovation is not required for the students.
Dr. Pan, I'm not able to hear you so well. Are the others able to hear?
No,
Your voice is breaking, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Would you like to readjust your connection? Should we move ahead and come back to you? Is it okay for you? Maybe you want to log off and log in. Maybe you want to log off.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, now is better. Yes, now is better.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, madam. Actually, what I was talking about, that innovation is required for not only the students, we teach too. Because this is the situation when we teachers are quite so
Sorry to interrupt you, but your connection is not so stable, sir. We are not able to hear you again.
Am I audible?
When you say, am I audible, you are very well audible. But then it deteriorates.
I don't think why, because what is the problem? We are used to conduct Zoom classes also here.
Okay, but
So
now
then
please continue, sir. Please continue.
Yeah. So what I was talking about, that right now what we need, that is we have to focus upon that experiential learning. Unless until students are involved personally and we teachers are involved. So CBSE as well as the other education board in the country, they are focusing upon that experiential learning as well as your skill education. So if we, and it's a need of the hours also. With this problem right now, if we teachers, we students, we parents, and we are all stakeholders, if we collaborate all together, and then this kind of situation we can easily manage. And students, because they are at home, and when the school will be functioning regularly, we don't know. So in this very situation, let students involve at their home with their parents, and teachers, they are taking that Zoom classes or other digital classes through media. So they are doing fine, but the curriculum, what we have, and the teachers taken initiative reduced. Given permission up to standard 8 for students' curriculum, and they can reduce it. So that way, if we focus on that skills as well as your experiential learning, I think that will be a part of innovation. And if we can integrate as it is going on in your SSC University and other areas also, in schools also we are doing, the incorporation of performing arts and if we can integrate in that case also, it will be quite understand concept.
Dr. Pan, we have lost you, unfortunately. What I will do is I'll move on, and then if there is some time available, we'll come back to you. So from there, Suvina, can we move to you? Suvina Shunglu is the founder principal of Shri Shri Academy. So Suvina, please go ahead and share your thoughts.
Can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Yes, you're good.
All right, I'm going to move a little faster, realize you're running out of time. I'm just going to touch on one or two points and I'll talk what's closest to my heart, because I think the very senior and experienced educators have already mentioned a lot of very important things. For example, one needs a robust digital infrastructure in the present day scenario. At this moment, without a digital infrastructure, without digital professional development, it gets difficult to deliver. I understand that. Innovation in school will enable instructional techniques to flourish, new ideas would come, and it would reach out to students in exciting and effective and new ways. And we basically need very resilient educators. We need teachers who are flexible and who are ready to work and adapt to the situation as is required today. We also need to work on critical thinking skills and problem solving in students. And that is a reflection of what teachers are able to. I think teachers are coping very well, even though nobody was prepared for it. And that is an indication that we have it in us. I am going to move to a short, quick story, which should not take more than a minute. Is this New York fashion darling Emily Baudet is known for designs that were based on antique heritage quilt traditional fabrics. And her business was growing so fast, her demand was skyrocketing, and she could not depend only on human resources to keep an archive of those and to select designs. So she partnered with Microsoft, I shouldn't use the name, with artificial intelligence expert that has helped to preserve his historical quilt materials and has helped to scale her business. Now, this is a beautiful example of a marriage of heritage and technology, of human labor and viability. And if senior school education is a pathway to higher education and a final destination of employment, it must meet the needs of modern employers and in the current world situation. The future has become now. As you have said this again and again, it is now. Education must bridge that gap between senior school education and the real world and partner with universities. I'm really encouraging my students to go for apprenticeships with professionals, shadow them right from class 8. They can begin in the family. They can look at dentists, they can look at lawyers, because they very often have an idea, I want to do this, but they really don't know much about that profession. Summer internships with universities, they should work part-time right from senior school. And I feel that in our school, we've started for the last 1.5 years, a very well-equipped career guidance cell where every teacher who interacts with the children in the senior classes is getting trained, is aware of what is happening in the world, is constantly a student and is finding out. We have 9 career counselors at the moment, and we have been so busy because while we're teaching in the morning, in the evening, we're doing webinars for career guidance, for streams, and we have a senior alumni coming back to share wherever they are, or what is the experience in that college? Was it what they expected? How was it to get there? How difficult was it there? Was it disappointing? And we have a lot of such courses in school. We have a tinkering lab, design lab, we have home economics, we do coding and robotics. All these things help us, I feel, to be in touch with life. And I feel that's become one area where every school should now focus on bridging the gap between what is required outside and what we are doing in our curriculum. Curriculum will not change in the short run. It will change in the long run. But we need to add, that's about all. Thank you.
They are not able to hear, madam.
Because all have been muted actually from that side, that end.
Sorry, so let me just repeat what I said. I said great input, Sovina, and you brought in the conversation on AI. And actually today in the world, the discussion is already about not viewing AI as a competition, as something that will replace or take away our roles, but as an augmenter, as a team member, which will augment and enhance our output and productivity. So well said. And with that, I'm going to quickly go to Shishir Kumar Das, the principal of Kendriya Vidyalaya in Visakhapatnam. Sir, if you can briefly place your thoughts. You have to unmute yourself, sir. Or I can ask Charak, our team member.
Yes, done it, ma'am.
Yes.
Good evening to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. First of all, I feel my proud privilege that to be a member of this wonderful panel, where the panel members, few members are more than well experienced, more than my age. So I 100% support with that, Mr. Mahapatra. Nowadays, education, we are not producing only machines. Human machines should not be produced. Rather, we should produce the human beings. So education should be in that way by which the real human beings can be generated, real human being can be produced. In that aspect, 2 things I want to share. One is innovation in education and educational innovation. There is 2 different things. Innovation in education, that includes innovation in education, innovation in scientific and technological field, innovation in infrastructural field, economic, social and legal innovations, administration and other innovations. Whereas your educational innovation includes only the change in methodology. So we have to change. The day has gone when we have to wait for the teachers to learn something. But if the teachers, we want to save our existence, we have to get daily, continuous and constant innovations. Otherwise, our existence will be in danger. Because by clicking a simple button, many things it is there. So we, the school and the teachers, and only the facilitators, that education should be totally child-centered, not by teachers, dominated by teachers, or not dominated by the curriculum. So we have to some innovations in the field of selection of subjects. Few students, if you analyze the results in 9th, 10th, whatever it may be, in 9th and 10th especially, many students are poor in mathematics and science. If they are not interested for mathematics, why should be given mathematics as subject? They are very good in social science. They are very good in yoga. They are very good in music. That combination should be in that vast way by which they will get full success in their life. Another innovation should be there, taste of failures. That present society, the taste of failure should be learned by the students. Even suppose somebody is failed, say that is not the last. There are so many things it will come in future. He can get success. So taste of failures should be taught to the students. Not only students, but teachers also, everybody. What is the taste of a failure? That is very interesting to learn from the failures only. Then belongingness. Nowadays, education is only the completion of syllabus. My course ho gaya. If you put a question to your small kids, what is the name of their grandfather? They will not, grandmother, they will not able to say the name. It is a matter of strange. If you will ask what is the name of your aunt, they don't know. So belongingness should be there, inculcate the values should be there, by which the student will be a full-bodied human being in future. Next thing, we have to reduce the dropouts. Not only in the urban areas, especially in the rural areas, the facilities, what the other panelists, they are already mentioned, the educational system, it is not till reached to the rural areas. So it is, we have to work in that way by which the education should reach each and everybody. The dropouts should not be there. And to learn happy, how to be happy. Happiness is required in education. There should not be any fear. There should not be any, that what can say, any risky. Rather, they should come to the school to enjoy. Education should be in that way by which everybody, every child, teacher, principal, all stakeholders, they should enjoy in that field. So we should work in the field of text formation, And there should be a difference between syllabus and curriculum. We are always in favor of syllabus, but there is a vast thing in curriculum. We have to take care of the curriculum. Syllabus is only the books. So it is my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Shishir Kumar ji. Very wonderful thoughts from you as well. Great to hear from an educator talk about the importance of teaching failure to students, the value of failure, or even the fact that failure is not the end of the world. I think very important today. And Gurudev very often talks about this in his addresses to students, that it doesn't matter one exam you didn't do well, it's not the end of the world. And that is why some of the programs that the Art of Living teaches to the children are helping children to foster this same things that you spoke about, a sense of belongingness, a sense of freedom, you know, freeness in conduct, a sense of connection, sense of happiness. And very wonderful to hear your thoughts. With that, I want to go to also from Visakhapatnam, Dr. Parul Kumar. Dr. Parul, please share your thoughts.
Greetings to all of you. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
I would like to share a screen. Could you please tell me if all of you can view that? I hope I'm audible.
You're audible, but we have not yet.
I'm sharing a screen with you. And before that, I must share that I'm very, very happy and honored to be part of this webinar, and my gratitude to Sri Sri University for giving me this golden opportunity. I think the host has disabled this. I'd like to share my screen with you.
Charak, can you help ma'am with this?
I think we can do it. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, we can share the screen.
Talk about innovation in education. Innovation is just out of box thinking or high order thinking, which actually helps us to solve the problems what we have in an organization. Let it be a school or a college, all of us have some or the other problems in our way and we want solution to it. And innovation in education, each and every organization is doing because you need to survive. In today's world, survival is the ultimate goal because of the competition, the changing, unpredictable scenario which came with COVID-19, and the way our teachers changed over from chalk and board to online classes. They learned harder, but they did learn. And they did make the classroom digital, virtual, and they took all the strategies. Learning happen, connectivity happen. Innovation in education leads to leapfrog progress, that is incremental progress which is required. When I talk about aim of education, it's not merely learning something, it is also unlearning. In today's world, if we are teaching something, the student is already learned to say yes every time. We want the students to learn yes, of course, but we want them to unlearn this yes and learn why, because we are not filling the pails with education. We are igniting their minds. So very, very important thing is they should learn why. And this asking why is very important at each. And ultimate aim of education is happiness and employment. So that we should not forget any time. We have been talking about solutions to our problem, what we deal with in education. But what are the problems of today's learners? We cannot just copy the innovations from the West to our country because our learners are different and their problems are different. So a few things I would like to highlight here. There is a kind of fear and pressure in child. With every changing scenario, it leads to fear, anxiety, pressure. Society gives little pressure. There is pressure from parents, teachers, which leads to depression. There is lack of clarity in career. I'm sure 2 hours of counseling session or 3 hours of counseling session for career and guidance will not help. There is lack of focus, instability as related to emotions. There is some kind of addiction which the child or this learner has towards the mobile, taking in knowledge which is not appropriate probably at that particular stage, or addiction to anything like substance abuse or alcohol, or be it even drugs for that matter. Now, what innovations we are looking in the present scenario is increased student involvement, be it digital class as well, but the student has to be highly involved. And that's the reason strategies like, flipped classroom learning, collaborative learning actually leads to better learning. We all work towards learner-centric education. We have been doing that, but at the same time, we should not compromise, on empowering our teachers who are capable of taking risks, because unless they take risks, they cannot use the strategies, they cannot use innovations. So only thinking about innovations will not have. And of course, we need to give them high clarity on their career choices. And we ultimately need high performing students and high employability in our country for a better economy. Now, when we talk about the present scenario, we need practical, experiential and observational learning. And for that, I feel giving them little inputs on foundations of psychology is very important at all levels, because they need to understand what is relationship. Let it be relationship with a virtual teacher, but they need to be associated, they need to be connected. Once they look into the motivation, aptitude, they need to connect better. So this kind of background will help them. And of course, motivation will help them to focus. At the end, I would like to sum up that education is all about teaching how to think and not what to think. Thank you.
Very nice, Dr. Parul. Very path-breaking thoughts, and you got in the concept of why, which is a big thing in the so-called, for all of us as adults today. Start with the why. What is your why for your life? And I think a big ask of every leader today is to be able to find the why. So very nice to hear the why being brought in by you. And with that, we go to our last speaker for this afternoon, Jacob, Mr. CJ Jacob, principal of the Kairali School of Ranchi in Jharkhand. Jacob is going from town of MS Dhoni. So we are all very familiar with Ranchi and all the wonderful things in education that you are doing. So please, a few thoughts from you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks to Sri Sri University to invite me to put forward my point here. Let me start with, I'm audible, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Let me take the cue from Major General Basant Mahapatra. Important duty of all the teachers and the institution to make children a good human being. For that, we have to instill some moral values in them. Then only we will go beyond it. Let me come to my point of innovation. Innovation in education is about more than just technology. It's about how you can use technology to empower students to become lifelong learners who are agents of change. Innovation education is doing things in a differently new way. To do something differently requires coming up with an approach, process, or strategy. Innovation in education encourages teachers and students to explore, research, and use all the tools to uncover something new. It involves a different way of looking at problems and solving them. The thinking process that goes into it will help students develop their creativity and their problem-solving skill. Innovation does not mean creating something from nothing. Just like with any good science project, it relies on researching existing solutions to come up with a new hypothesis to test. Innovation in education is more than a new approach. I believe that proving or disproving hypotheses with strong, rigorous research is the best way to move education forward. Innovation improves education because it compels students to use a higher level of thinking to solve problems. Example of innovation in education. Innovation includes finding better ways of doing something and new ways to look at problems. For example, students are given the task of building recycling bins to support sustainability. The students did not simply building bins. They identified problems with the waste management program, research solutions, and create a plan to promote their solution with the help from other areas or department of the school with the help of the teachers. In the application of project-based learning is another approach for spurring innovation and creative thinking among the children. Instead of simply teaching ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, innovation goes beyond the basics by combining a variety of disciplines to come up with a new or different outcome.
Time up, sir.
Knowledge of the basics is a starting point. Students use tech knowledge and concept to find solution by explaining until they find the best answers. Let me conclude with a quote from poet William Butler Yeats that is a fitting parallel for the role of innovation in education. Education should not be the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Thank you.
Very nice, Mr. Jacob. Thank you for your comments. Dr. Pan, are you going to? Can we try if you're audible now, and for a minute or two, if you would like to say some concluding remarks, because we couldn't hear from you that time. Are you able to hear me, Dr. Pan? Okay, unfortunately, I think there's a challenge with the link. So, you know, it was so wonderful to hear all of you. Very, very thought-provoking insights, very, very breakthrough ideas. Charak, do we have questions from the Facebook feed? Couple of questions we can take.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, how will you say that aloud, or will you can send it to me on WhatsApp, or how will it work? Oh, you have some collected questions already?
Panda sir has a few questions, I guess.
Yeah, Panda sir has. Sir, please go ahead. You can ask.
No, it is with Charak or Jyoti, I think. They
Okay. Okay, you know what? That's all right. I have a couple of questions, actually. I want, you know, all of you to show, with a show of hands, how many of you feel that in India, we are kind of at the, you feel that as we are benchmarked well with respect to what is happening in terms of innovation. I mean, we brought in innovation in academics, in curriculum design, in approach, in critical thinking. Let's think of any aspect that comes to your mind. How do you think we are doing with respect to the rest of the world? How many of you think we are better than the rest of the world? Can I have a show of hands? All right. How many of you think we are equal to, doing all right, we are at par? Okay. Okay, Mona Lisa, you think we are at par? So the rest of you think we have a lot of catching up to do?
A lot of catching up.
Yes,
lot of catching up.
a lot of catching up, because I had the privilege of going to Finland for about 10 days. I visited their education system and other European countries and US as well. I mean, basically the curriculum need to be actually, you know, revamped quite a bit to include the critical thinking, to include the
Right.
all these things. There has to be a thought on all these things.
So my next question is actually, Mona Lisa, and I let you answer this, respond to this. My next question is that none of us know when this COVID situation will be behind us. So it appears that when we open for the next academic session, we might still be doing online. So in assuming this happens, what would you say are the top 3 things that we as educators, especially for school children, need to keep in mind, or 3 things we need to take care of, assuming that the next, say, 6 to 8 months, we might be forced to teach online? What would you say?
Is that question for me?
No, it's for everybody. You can say one point and then we can move to
So if you ask me, I will say we have to work on the assessment pattern.
assessment.
It has to be more open-ended.
Open-ended.
So open-ended question should be there. The classroom size has to be less. The teacher has to be monitoring the classroom size, and also a more case-based case studies curriculum.
Okay. Smaller class groups, better assessment, and more monitoring, more case-based. Anyone else would like to add? Yes, sir. Yes, you can unmute yourself. Shishir Kumarji, unmute yourself and you can speak.
Yes. As in the present scenario, excluding the online teaching, I hope and I expect one counseling for the kids is more important.
Counseling.
Counseling is nowadays when they are not coming outside from their residence, and you know their kids to sit for 2-3 hours, it is difficult, but they are sitting their home for longer period.
Correct.
So to take care of their mind and physical and everything, counseling is I think more important during this time.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Dr. Parul.
Continue for a little longer time, and we need to go on with online classes for longer. The most important thing will be having a zero period where there is a connectivity with the teacher and the students, because at present we are not doing that. But certainly if this continue for a longer time, we need to have that, because the personal touch is missing, and we need to have that touch, because after all, we are not working with robots.
Just like a chit chat period, not teaching.
There has to be a chit chat period.
Chit chat. Okay, nice idea, Dr. Parul. Yes, Aparajita.
Yes, I truly feel, because it's like when we talk of the school children, it's again, we divide them into 3 categories. It's like primary and the middle school and the senior. So if we just now look into the primary children are already kind of glued to the phones of their parents, watching videos and all. And as a psychologist, I've also seen this, that a lot of children are coming up with this ADHD syndrome, the attention deficit, hyperactive deficiency, which is there. So if this thing continues, we have to see that for the primary children, middle school children, it should be less of content oriented. We have to have more of activities with the children, more of projects can be given to them, so that they can surf the net, and the parents should guide them in making those projects, so that all the time they are not just glued to the screen. That is what I personally feel.
I want to ask another question, which I want to, the rest of you to take, is, today we are talking now about children and this online teaching. What about parents? Because I'm seeing even like within our family, the parents are working from home, the kids have to study from home. Sometimes you don't have 4 laptops at home for everybody to to have their own way of working, and it's putting a lot of pressure on parents. So are there some things you and in your schools you're doing for parents? Suvina, can I start with you?
So actually we had a couple of letters that were sent across to parents explaining to them that we do want to fix time when they do these classes, online classes, but it is definitely up to you to decide, because people wrote back that we have 1 laptop or we don't have help in the morning and we rather do it. We said adjust that to your family needs. We've been flexible, but try and keep a routine every day. If you do 11 to 1 for the children, then do that every day. We also don't keep more than 3 hours of online time for senior school and 1.5 hours for junior school. Junior school activities are completely supervised. There is a parent login that happens, and a lot of collaborative work. Parents are actually delighted. They're sending us back things that they've not done with their children. There are fathers who've written that, so what if the mother's busy, I'm going to sit with the child. So we are flooded with very happy parents at the pre-primary, primary stage. At the senior school, where parents are more focused on exams, that's where the worry and the stress comes. And because they know at the end of the day, they all sit for the same examination at the end of class 10 or 12 or university. And therein is where we need to change a little bit and say, let's work more on skills like right now, like research, teaching them how to do research, teaching them how to do things at home, changing the evaluation pattern. I am mentally prepared for the first term completely being online. We are working on online report cards and evaluation. We are having weekly meetings on Saturdays with teachers to think, how do we change?
Yeah.
So content driven that we need to shift from content to see other higher order skills, higher order questioning, where it doesn't have to be a right and wrong. Right?
Yeah, so Veena, I want to take in Major General Mahapatra for his comments on this. Yes, sir. You have to unmute yourself. General Mahapatra, you have to unmute yourself. You know, there is a mic icon. Yeah. Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's all right.
Okay, thank you. I'm not an educationist per se. I have had the outside view, and for last 8-9 years, or I've said about 15 years, I've got associated with education. The thing which is important, I see, our focus is totally or maximum on rote learning, And that is the thing why all the students are cramming 98%, 99%, 100%, and all that is going on. So it is high time, though it is AICT, UGC, they have all understood this problem of rote learning, but we as the educationists, all of you, the teacher, the principal, we have to think in terms of changing it from rote learning to critical thinking or critical learning. It has to be a combination, it cannot be overnight, but it has to be a gradual process. The think process has started. But this cannot happen unless there is total agreement, understanding, and willingness of the teachers to do the thing. Because ultimately, it has to be implemented by the teachers. And also the question papers which are there, if you have objective question, well, you will have rote learning. You have to have subjective. So our emphasis for all India, it is not only confined to schools, but to higher education, that we have to change slowly, gradually, as fast as possible from rote learning towards critical thinking. Gradually, we should do that.
That's a
Thank
very
you.
good point from you. And I'm seeing a comment from our Dean of Architecture of Sri Sri University. She's saying that we have taken a step in this direction. We are looking at methodologies like the Bloom's taxonomy for evaluation that is moving to creativity and even reflection. And this will have an impact on the curriculum development and also in the way we teach. So we are running out of time. So I want to ask a last question. And this I would like a one line from each of you. You know, we are a university today, a seat of higher education. So what can we do with you? How can you and us collaborate to face really this new way of teaching and learning that we are all, you know, having to grapple with? You with the smaller children, we with the older children. So what is your idea? What can you and us, what can we collaborate? Middle school, higher school, secondary school, and us as colleges and universities. Just a one, 2 line thought from each member on the panel. General Mahapatra, you are saying something, but you have to unmute, sir.
Somebody else is doing it for me.
No. Yes. You were saying something? Go ahead.
Yeah. You see, now this is a very wonderful point that you raised. You have got a lot of specialization. There are certain talents and trainers who are there who are not available in the school. Like we have a school very close to your hardly 10 minutes drive from Sri Sri University to DAV CDA school.
Right.
We have more than 5,000 students in the school itself. We can have collaboration like what I mentioned, EQ, emotional quotient, SQ is social as well as spiritual quotient. These sort of subjects, certain periods can be allocated. And if we can have collaboration, your experts coming in and imparting this and give this specialization to the schools. It can happen and it will be
That's a very, very fabulous idea. I'm requesting Dr. Singh, our respected Vice Chancellor, who is quite patiently listening to all our conversation, to please make a note of it. And, you know, we will evaluate this at the earliest moment. Once the lockdown is open, we will definitely evaluate it.
Even while the lockdown is on, we can have some webinars with the students, particularly addressing to their needs. We can have their questions in advance, and we can address their questions and all those things. Why to wait for lockdown to be over? We can always just start those things wherever an opportunity to collaborate comes. Let us do it now.
That's wonderful, Dr. Singh. I want to request your office to follow through on this, so that we can really take it up. Yes, Captain Sen is raising his hand. Please, sir.
In fact, in the same collaboration thing, we have about say 350 to 400 teachers in our group. I mean, we have 5-6 schools, and 6 schools in fact, and we have a training program throughout the year. In fact, more than students, I want the same kind of collaboration with our teachers. Basically, you know, in improving basically the spiritual quotient, the social quotient, and that kind of thing. And just this is a very loud thinking. Probably something can be, if that something can be worked out.
No, we can definitely do this. This is definitely possible. And I'm seeing that already Dr. Singh is making notes, and Vijay, I would like you to be the chief sort of follow through for this. So that's wonderful. Aparajita, yes, you are raising your hand. Yes. Charak, can you? Yes.
Yeah, I also feel that we can have some exchange programs with your university students also, and the undergraduate children also, like they can know a lot more about the university by personally interacting. So that as it was, we saw the snippet, and it's, I mean, what more can anybody ask for, that the Sri Sri University is a total drug-free and alcohol university.
Alcohol free.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I take back my words. Yeah, so it's going to be more of, I would say, inspiration for the children. And if they have some interaction with your university students, it would be wonderful. They will be even motivated and inspired for the same.
Aparajita, would you like it if we allocate maybe some of our postgrad, you know, like our MBA students or our Masters of Computer Science students, we can allocate some of your students to some of these students to do some sort of a, you know, mutual conversation, some, you know, because how would
Why not, Rachita ji? Yeah, we definitely look forward for the same, and I'm sure this has given us a platform and an opportunity to be now regularly in touch with you, and we can definitely plan up the exchange programs with the Sri Sri University.
To hear. Dr. Parul, you were saying something?
In a way where we can bring in a little bit of career counseling from the students, like, you know, the horse's mouth directly, because we keep talking to them, and we have specialists, professionals speaking to children about career. But when it comes to senior students, I think the connect which the children make with the seniors is much better as compared to the professionals. So if they can come and have this kind of exchange program as far as career counseling is concerned, I feel it'll help. It'll definitely.
You know, Dr. Parul, on Saturday, in fact, we have a very large career counseling conversation with all our Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Vidya Mandir students of the 11th and 12th class. About 1,500 to 2,000 kids, students will be online, and the bulk of the conversation will be with our students. So we will just facilitate. So if there is something like this, it interests you, we are happy to do it with your students as well. Yes. Shishir Kumarji, any thoughts from you on this? And yes, Dr. Pan, I come to you. I definitely will come. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. So whenever we are telling all these things, there should be a proper exact platform where we can share all these good things, by which suppose some good things, and for the welfare of the kids we are doing here, it can be shared with you, and what you are doing there, it can be shared with others. By which it can be take the benefit by others. It should not be only that for a limited space or limited time. Rather, it should be for all. Everybody should take the benefit of this.
Very nice.
Specific platform should be there where we can share our views and good things, what is done here, what is done by you and by others. Then they can learn from this.
You know, this is such a great thought you're placing, sir, because this our global leadership series, the intention is that, in fact, we propose to have many, many more sessions like this. We will plan some really success transfer sessions where we are able to, as schools, present our, you know, success stories, and we can learn from each other. You know, we are in the same boat today.
That is the main point.
Yeah, so we are planning that, and great idea from you. Yes, Dr. Pan, so sorry we were not able to hear you at all, but yes, you have a word here.
Thank you, ma'am. Very sorry for that. I could not because of bad here. So network is a great problem. Anyway, so now my only suggestion is that we can collaborate with you by exchanging the students, as Madam Aparajita said already. So some students of 6 to 8 middle school students, as well as secondary school students, they can have some project work.
Oh, very nice.
Collaborating with your students, right? And they can visit the center, because you have the diversity in that. There are many areas, many disciplines where students are not knowing actually.
Right.
So they are focusing upon only engineering, medical, and this CA, this, that. So apart from that, there are many areas that these are quite unknown to the students for their career counseling, right? So in that case, if we can prepare the students from 6 to 10, middle school as well as your secondary classes. So when they'll be passing out senior secondary +2, then they can make up their mind and they can go for that your SQ, EQ, and there are many Qs are there, you know. So in that case, they can participate.
Very
so
nice.
my only request with you all that let us have the collaboration by exchanging the students. And if you allow the students to visit your campus, so they'll be having some practical ideas, because I believe in experiential learning, right? So in that case, it will be a good idea and it can be better for the children as well as for your university, and they'll be enriched. That is my
very nice,
only request.
very nice. I now just Mr. Jacob and then Mona Lisa, and then we kind of close this round. Yes, Mr. Jacob. So you have to unmute, or Charak, why don't you just unmute now, everybody?
Hear me, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Can you hear me? Actually, I need some kind of a small courses for the children of higher secondary. This is the
What
right
courses,
time
sir? What courses did you say?
some kind of a course which can instill some kind of discipline, responsibility, and respect for elders. Some kind of moral value should be instilled in the minds of the children for their future sake. So some kind of small courses. I think Art of Living People is doing something like that in the school also. I have to yet to be in touch with them actually. If you can do something for us, we will be happy to conduct some kind of small courses for the children once this lockdown is over.
Definitely, definitely. This is Captain Panda and Vijaya. This is something, you know, we
Yes,
are doing.
we have noted and we'll do the needful.
Coordinate. And that brings us to Dr. Mona Lisa. Yes. Unmute, Mona Lisa.
Unmute.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me now, Rajita ji?
Yes.
Thank you so much. What I feel that we all are talking about, you know, IQs, EQs, secondary, higher secondary, then universities, but we really forget the little ones in the whole process, the foundation of our generation. And I would love it if you can really make something which can embed our curriculum with lot of calmness, lot of patience. And for that matter, I want the teachers to first go through, the parents to first go through, and then the children, because it's we who imbibe them or we who transfer our stress to them. And then we keep on blaming them. You haven't done this, because in the whole process of my schooling, I hated maths because I never liked the teacher. So I feel our teachers need to be extraordinarily interesting, joyful, and they have to make the environment happy, you know, for our students to grow up to that. We cannot blame our children for anything because we haven't given them. whatever we wish to see them in.
That's true. That's true.
I would request you that. You have a wonderful smile and I've learned it from you. Otherwise, I never used to smile.
No, this is very well said. And, in fact, since we are in lockdown, we are also teaching a lot of our meditation, breathing programs online. So we will talk to you separately. And definitely we can offer for your team and, at a time that is convenient for the whole group. So this was so wonderful to have this conversation. One thing I have learned is we need more time for these discussions because all of you have such a wealth of experience, such a wealth of wisdom and knowledge. And, you are dealing with this on a day-to-day basis. So it was very valuable for us to have this conversation. I think a lot of very breakthrough ideas. I think the topic was on innovation for education, but this conversation has brought out so many breakthrough ideas. Adversity quotient, I heard it for the first time. Thank you, General Mahapatra, for giving us this concept today. The example of not allowing phones in school, but now the whole school has come in the phone. It is the way the future will be. And as educators, I think we have to not only be ready for it, but we have to embrace it and think of one step ahead. Critical thinking we spoke about, talking about the taste for failure. Shishir Kumarji, it is a big thing in the corporate world today. As leadership coaches, we today teach failure before success, because that is how the continuum is. You don't experience success and then failure. You first experience failure and then success. So very beautiful thought of, we talked about belongingness, happiness, new ways. You brought in the why. The why of the what is today so important, and it's heartening to see that as education leaders, you are all talking about it. And I think today, I take a leaf out of what Gurudev always says: broaden your vision and deepen your roots. And that is so valuable for all of our students, because I think as educators, we are all saying that we need to help our students get in touch with their own self, so that they can be those fountainheads of happiness, the fountainhead of joy, be able to deal with their anxiety, their confusions, the hopes and fears that they have at this age. And at the same time, we have to help them be able to connect to a world, where sustainable challenge today. Climate change is an issue that we as a humanity will continue to deal with. Engaging with the community, therefore building social connections, building social capital. I think both levels we have to support our children, and at the same time deal with that continuously evolving space of technology and the world at large. So I want to, on behalf of Sri Sri University, thank you very deeply for sharing your wonderful and valuable thoughts. These will stay alive on our social media platform forever. I think a lot of students, young and old, will all take inspiration from your ideas. And you have already today, I think, virtually visited Sri Sri University. And we wait to receive you in person the soonest time possible. And I want to say that as Gurudev's University, we have taken it on ourselves as our mission to really be thought leaders of a different kind of education that our country can have, that our students can have, which is why the choice of our programs is like this. We are the first university in Asia to have the School of Osteopathy. We are going to be the first university in the whole world to have a department of behavioral and behavioral sciences. We are the first university in India to have a program in agri-business for our farmers. So knowing, as coming from Gurudev's vision, we will continue to have a very path-breaking and very cutting edge, at the same time, very amazing niche programs as well. The corona has shown us that the world may not be as mobile as we knew it to be. So we are there for your students. We would love to have them come to our campus for their higher studies. And we promise to our parents one thing, that you will not find a more safe, secure, and a happy campus than ours, definitely anywhere else in India. That is our promise. We are the altar parents of children when they come to our campus. So I want to thank the participation of our Vice Chancellor. Sir, you decided not to contribute much today. You wanted me to do this, but the next one you have to do, and I will be quiet. So, and our Executive Registrar, Dr. B.R. Sharma, is online. His video is on now, and some of the other seniors. And we thank you for your time, and big thank you to Captain Panda and Dr. Vijay Lakshmi, who took lead in reaching out to all of you and seeking your time. And thank you very much for your time. We wish you all success. We wish you all the best as we navigate through these challenges that we are facing us in the times to come. And we are with you. We are there with you. So reach out to us. Yes?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.